We got the talent around our brains to dissect another division.
Yes.
And we got on tap the NFC East today. I'm sure you know who we root for, but we'll keep it partial. We'll break down all facets of the division, but let's start with. Let's start with NFC East headline. Chuck, what's the big headline going into this season for the NFC East?
My biggest headline is right now for this division. I think whoever wins this division, again, I think it might be the toughest inside the division and might be the worst division as a whole.
Okay.
Because I think the team that wins this division is going to go maybe 9-8 or 10-7. So I don't think there's going to be a dominating team in this division, but I think it's going to be a very tough division. That's my headline, just a tough division.
Yeah, well, speaking of tough division, historically it's been a very tough division to repeat. Mm-hmm. And my headline is, are we going to see another non-repeat winner? Last year's division winner was the Dallas Cowboys, but the Dallas Cowboys had the most subtractions in terms of talent to their team among all these teams. They lost two talented offensive linemen, they lost Amari Cooper, and we've seen Dak's splits in and out of, basically when Dak has all the supporting cast around him, intact offensive line, both running backs, both receivers, he plays better. He plays better when they're around, but they're not this season. And you get the Eagles, who made multiple additions on both sides of the ball. Giants have a new regime coming in.
Yes.
With Saquon coming back, and you got Washington.
We got Ryan Dayball, so we'll see how that works.
Right. You got Washington, who brings in a new quarterback. So, is it going to happen again? It looks pretty likely. So that's my headline going in. Now let's go into breakout player. Let's break out the crystal ball. Who we got?
So
who's stepping up this year?
So my breakout player is going to be. He's kind of like the jersey you're wearing, but he's going to be more of a team player, and he's going to explode on the scene for the Giants. Kadarius Toney. I think it's time that we give this guy the ball in space more. We get a little RPO going with Danny Dimes and Saquon Barkley, and we throw him quick slants, flats, bubble wraps. Get Saquon with the ball rolling. We just dropped an offensive lineman. We got Andrew Thomas. Hopefully he figures it out as well, and that line figures it out because they've been together for the past 3 years. So I think it's year 4. So that line with the addition of Neal, they got to put it together, and I just think that they're gonna give Kadarius Toney the ball in space because Danny Dimes has more protection. And then I think that just the talent as a whole, and he'll understand the playbook. Kadarius will get the ball. And Dayball's an offensive mastermind with Josh Allen, and he got Stephon Diggs the ball in space. So,
sky's the limit for Toney. It's really the injuries. He had so many explosive games last year, but
he's fucking electric.
He's made of bubble. You have to wrap him in bubble wrap essentially. And they also drafted Wan'Dale Robinson, who's similar to Toney. So you wonder if Toney's even going to stay on the team. But if he does, absolutely, Danny Dimes got to throw to somebody.
Seriously. I'm sorry, is it going to be Galladay?
He's got to earn his deal, man.
It's
point blank period. He's got to earn his deal.
This is another topic.
Yeah, so speaking of needing to throw to somebody, Dak needs to throw to somebody with Amari Cooper gone. And I'm looking at their third round rookie wide receiver, Jalen Tolbert, out of South Alabama.
Really?
So he is pretty much going to be thrust into a starting role this year because of Cooper leaving, and Michael Gallup tore his ACL, probably not going to be ready for week 1.
Oh, I didn't even know about that. When did that happen?
He tore his ACL week 17 last year, so very late in the season.
Oh, I didn't even know.
So it's really going to be him and Lamb, and then Dalton Schultz, who could be a breakout candidate of his own, but literally no one knows who Tolbert is. And if the Cowboys' defense regresses, like I think it will, then the Cowboys are going to throw the ball a lot. And
Zeke's getting old.
Zeke's getting old. So someone's going to have to feature in this offense. I love Tolbert. Speedy guy. He's a playmaker. And came from a small school. It's his time to really show out. And I love him also as a sleeper in fantasy, but
I didn't even know about him, so I'm glad you actually brought that up. I had no idea.
Don't draft him.
Third round pick. I don't think you should have said anything.
Nah, I'm not worried about that. But moving on, MVP. We had a tough time settling on one. Who'd you end up going with?
Okay, so I'm not a fan of the Eagles. Don't despise the Cowboys. But I think the MVP is going to be Jalen Hurts. I don't know why, but I like where the Eagles
just a gut feeling?
It's just a gut feeling. I like where the Eagles are going. He's got the weapons. He has the offense, and I just think he really has been improving, and his mobility and strength just goes a long way. And he's a guy who really, like last year, he kind of put the team on his back, and he kind of showed that even though he wasn't perfect, but he could lead the team as a quarterback. And like, it could be Dak who wins it. It could be maybe like a defensive player, but I think it's going to be Jalen Hurts, because I think he's going to have all the weapons he needs, and I think he's just going to explode on the scene and do everything.
Jalen Hurts has been getting a lot of criticism over the past few years, but yeah, he led a decent roster to playoffs last year. It's more than most teams can say. But my MVP, considering the quarterbacks aren't too great, Dak Prescott's had some good seasons, but I don't want to give him MVP because of how he plays when the talent around him falls.
Thanks.
But I'm going to give my MVP to a guy who was a rookie last year, but stormed out to the scene and almost won Defensive Player of the Year. And this is the defensive rookie of the year, Micah Parsons.
Oh, it's fat. Okay, I love that.
Micah Parsons, you can put him anywhere on the defense, he will make an impact. Micah Parsons, pass rushing technique, but also good in coverage, super athletic, and the sky is the absolute limit for him. He's pretty much the reason everyone talks about Trayvon Diggs and interceptions, but Diggs blew a lot of coverages last year. It was Micah Parsons that transformed this defense into what was an absolute joke the year before. So Parsons is no doubt my MVP for this division.
I love it. I absolutely love it. He gets notice of the likes of like, yo, is he like the next LT? Like, could he win NFL MVP? Do you think he's a player that could win NFL MVP? There's only been one defensive player to ever do it. Two, actually. Alan Page of the Vikings in 1972, and Lawrence Taylor in 1986.
Listen, he came that close to being Defensive Player of the Year as a rookie, and he would have been deserving of it. He maybe was close to being MVP just on how dominant that defense was last year. It's possible. Will the NFL ever give the award to a defensive player? You have to do something extraordinary.
Yeah,
honestly.
I agree. But I think he does have the ability to do extraordinary things.
Yes, and speaking of
doing that MVP call.
Speaking of doing extraordinary things, we are sponsored by 1800 Tequila. Drink enough of these, and everything you'll do will be extraordinary. X Factor.
My X Factor is going to be on the Washington Commanders, because he's a vital piece on that team. I really think that team's going to be last. Would you agree?
Yes.
So I think that team is going to be last, but they could not be last if this one guy just absolutely wreaks havoc on the field. So if Chase Young, yes. So if Chase Young comes back after this injury, and absolutely he's still fast, he's in good form, strength is good, and he's good on the field, and they don't bring him out too early. Maybe he comes out like week 3, or maybe he's ready to go. But because they definitely want to be careful with him. But he has a potential to just be a beast on the field. This is his 3rd year in the league. So year 3, after an ACL tear, the sky's the limit. So he's going to fucking come onto the scene and prove what he's got.
He has to, because Washington's defense was miserable last year, even when Young was playing, but especially when he went down, there was no chance. Speaking of another guy that's gone down a lot in the past couple seasons, Saquon Barkley. He is absolutely an X factor because the Giants need to pick me up on offense. Their receivers were either injured or just big disappointments last year. And now we have a new coaching system, and we talk about Brian Dable, offensive genius. Yes, can he get the most out of Danny Dimes? But Danny Dimes needs elite Saquon, the Saquon that was drafted number 2 overall, to come out and shine.
Where is it?
It's been on the sidelines through injuries, and this is really, it's really Saquon's make or break year as much as it is Daniel Jones' make or break year. Because he's not earning a big contract if he's anything but spectacular.
No.
There's no shot, and we're all rooting for him.
Yes.
But you know, if there's one player I could choose in this division that will like add 2 or 3 wins if he plays like how he should, it's Saquon.
100%. Couldn't agree with you more. I love what you said about the Danny Dimes situation. We give him the ball more, and he makes more plays, and like hopefully the line is spectacular. Takes more pressure off of Danny Dimes. So I love that too, because even though like he is an X factor as a whole, he's lost that X factor for the past 3 years because he's just been on the bench.
He needs to remind everyone who he is.
Exactly.
Point blank period. Before we get into
Saquon, we love you. Just ball out. I'm sorry.
Please.
Yeah.
Before we get into our division winner, do you have a bold prediction for me for this division? Anything?
You want to hear something bold? And I think a lot of Giants fans, you would love it.
Yeah.
What if we just went like 2-15, had like the 2nd overall pick, just got rid of Danny, Saquon's gone, draft Bryce Young or CJ Stroud? Would you tank for any of those 2 quarterbacks? Because those are generational quarterbacks.
Well,
Those guys, and I know you can attest, Heisman Trophy runner-ups. So
I will say this team has too much talent to be a tanking team. But I will also say that they are closer to that 2-15 record than they are a playoff team. But I'll get to that in a second, and I'll also get to my bold prediction in a second.
Yes.
But first, I want to hear how your division breaks down 1 through 4. Who you got winning?
Okay, so I mean, so as a Giants fan or as a realist?
We are on the show to be realists. We would love to see the Giants be 13-4, whatever.
Of course.
But we want to. People need to know.
All right, so on paper, as the real, so it's gonna go Eagles win the division at 10-7. Maybe the Cowboys go like 9-8. Giants 6-11, and then the Commanders go like 3-14.
That's pretty much how my division shapes up as well, actually. So I got the Commanders at 4-13. I got the Giants at 5-12, and I'm not confident as a Giants fan, even with the offensive additions.
I'm like optimistic. I'm not confident.
The problem with the Giants is their defense. They let go of 3 really key members of their secondary this offseason. They're depending on young corners to get the job done. And you know, their linebackers, you know, they got Blake Martinez, but he's coming off a torn ACL. The pass rush hasn't been there unless Thibodeau completely turns it around. So yes, the Giants have improved on offense, but I'm just really worried about this defense. They do have an easy schedule though, like a moderately easy schedule. So they can get it done. My most optimistic ceiling, to be honest, is 8-9. But I would love to be surprised.
Okay. Is that it just hurt, right? I feel like it just hurts saying 8-9 out of both of our mouths.
It does.
But it's reality.
It does. It's what it is. Cowboys I actually have at 8-9. I think the Cowboys are, as they usually are pretty overrated. Yeah. But I think especially this year, I think the only thing that could prop them up is a weaker conference, but they do have to play each previous first place team because of the schedule. Mm-hmm. So the schedule won't be easy for them, and they lost a lot of talent this year. It won't be the same team.
I don't think so either.
So I got my division winner is the Eagles, and I didn't give you my bold prediction before.
Yes.
But the Eagles are my NFC Super Bowl representative, and you might think I'm cap, but
I think that is fucking cap.
You might think I'm cap, but let me talk to you about something. They made 2 big acquisitions. So the first one is A.J. Brown on the offensive side. Another big fat play to go across from Devontae Smith to give Jalen Hurts another fantastic weapon. But then they steal away James Bradbury from the Giants, who can still play at an elite level, and now he'll have kind of more to play for. And platoons with Darius Slay, who's also a fantastic corner. The Pro Football Focus ranked the Eagles as the #1 offensive line in the NFL. Best offensive line, headlined by Lane Johnson. But that O-line has been solid for years. And the other thing that gives me confidence to pick is that they got that first playoff loss out of the way. They can get that confidence up. First of all, this is not saying the Eagles are saying fantastic team. They're an NFC representative, but I think the AFC winner will win the Super Bowl. But I think it's going to be It's going to be Eagles Bucks in the NFC Championship game, and then you get to that game, and the Bucks don't really match up as well as it did last year against the Eagles because the Bucks don't have the same receiving talent that they have. And the Eagles can pretty much just run over the field, with their run game, mobile quarterback, receivers, and fantastic line play.
Fucking what's his name? Smith, the receiver.
Devontae Smith. It pains me to say it, but I think the Eagles are my pick to make it to the Super Bowl.
I love that. I didn't think it would be there.
It pains me too, but I'm a predictor.
They do have what's his name? Isn't Fletcher Cox and
he's back?
Graham's back too. So that defense is scary on paper. So I do like that a lot.
Well, hopefully you like those predictions. Hopefully it was bold enough for you. Hopefully our bias didn't get too much in the way.
I'm kind of shook you said Super Bowl. I'm not thinking about it. And the Bucks, really? We're gonna get to the NFC South.
Okay. Yeah, that's for next time. Next time will be NFC North.
But perfect.
But we'll get to that division eventually. But we got 3 more divisions to run through, so I hope you guys stick with us. And for now, it is peace.
See you guys.
Out.